Hi, I'm Jeff Murrow, and I welcome you to True Texas History. I hope you had a good weekend. It's great to be with you today. And with today being September the 30th, I figured now is a good day to go ahead and talk about the prelude to Come and Take It. Because October 1st, will be the anniversary of the Gonzales Come and Take It episode. In fact, I was just in Gonzales yesterday. And kudos to Gonzales. You go there, the county courthouse, a huge Come and Take It flag. And then, I went by an automobile dealer, and rather than, a huge American flag, it was a Come and Take It flag. I mean, they're gearing up for Come and Take It days. And, as Texans, we probably ought to also. With the spirit of things, I want to go ahead and talk about what led up to it. Because, a lot of these Texas history books written by non-Texans leave out the good stuff. Okay, go ahead and set the stage. Let's go back a while. Prior to 1835, the leaders of Texas, Austin and others, were doing their best to try to get along with Mexico. And they really did like the Constitution of 1824. It was a decent constitution. And they were used to operating in a society that operated with law and order and having a constitution and a government that followed it. Gee, what a unique idea. But anyhow, what happened in October of, I believe, 1834, Santa Anna went ahead and dissolved the state legislature of Coahuila, Texas. And so at that point, the colonists had no political voice. There was nobody up there to represent them. And so Austin went to Mexico City to go ahead and intervene on behalf of Texas and ask for a separate state legislature, or regional legislature, whatever you want to call it. And Santa Anna threw him in prison. So, I mean, the message was clear. Santa Anna did not want the people of the region of Texas to have their own voice. Now, after a little while, Santa Anna went ahead and released Austin with a message to the people. And in my mind, it's probably propaganda that he gave them. But this is what went down. Because after Austin got back, it was May, well, not May, but they had a meeting in Mina. Actually, it was May of 1835. And Austin addressed the audience. And I'm going to read his words. I don't like to read to you, but I think that catches the spirit of things. Under the Spanish government, Texas was a separate and distinct province. As such, it had a separate and distinct local organization. It was one of the unities which composed the general mass of the nation, and as such participated in the War of the Revolution, was represented in the Constituent Congress of Mexico that formed the Constitution of 1824. The Constituent Constitution confirmed this united law May 7th, 1824, which united Texas with Coahuila provisionally under the express guarantee of being made a state of the Mexican Confederation as soon as it possessed the necessary elements. In other words, as soon as they had the population needed, they were promised this. He went on to change the form of government, destroy the federal Constitution of 1824, and establish a central or consolidated government. The states are to become provinces. It is my duty to state, as General Santa Anna verbally and expressly authorized me to say to the people of Texas, that he was their friend. that he wished for their prosperity, and he would do all he could to promote it. And in the new Constitution, he would use his influence to give the people of Texas a special organization suited to their education, habits, and situation. He also said whether the people of Texas ought or ought not to agree to this change and relinquish all or part of their constitutional and vested rights under the Constitution of 1824 is a question of most vital importance. Sound out to Jonathan Perez there. Shout out, excuse me. Okay, Constitution under vested rights under the Constitution of 1824 is a question of most vital importance and one that calls for deliberate consideration of the people and can only be decided by them fairly. Convened for this purpose. And when this happened, all the delegates went ahead and asked Austin what his thoughts were. Now, bear in mind exactly what this is asking. This is asking the people of Texas to surrender their constitutional rights so they can become a province in Mexico. People don't fall for it. You know, when you talk about coming up with a new constitution, that's always dangerous. And it was dangerous in this case too. And so they asked Austin what he thought, and he let them know that he was opposed to Santa Anna and what he was suggesting. Because there had been some attempts at independence prior to this, but they never seemed to gain steam. At this point, Stephen F. Austin said, that's going to be the route to go. And this started a series of events. One of them, we had we had the San Felipe force the Mexican vessel Carrero to surrender, and it captured its goods. It's amazing how many wars start with naval action, but this is one that took place before Gonzales. A lot of times you consider Gonzales the first action. Well, there was actually some stuff that went down before that. So we had that, and with the Gonzales situation, what you had, we had General Coss coming back into Texas. Now, at the end of the previous year, he had promised, I will never come back to Texas, because he got kicked out of San Antonio. And he came back. He came back with men, and they had cannon there at the Alamo, and the people suspected that the reason he was back and back with reinforcements was he wanted to disarm the people. And sure enough, that's what he proceeded to do. The Mexican government had disarmed the people before. Once before, the colonists of Gonzales had to surrender their guns, and the Mexican government said, "Oh, we'll return them," and they returned them inoperable. Nice of them, isn't it? And so Coss went ahead and sent Lieutenant Urgateca with 100 men to Gonzales to demand the cannon. And Urgateca went ahead and sent 2 emissaries into town to demand the cannon. The colonists immediately captured them and disarmed them. How nice of them. And then he sent another messenger to, sent a message to the mayor, and the mayor conveniently made himself unavailable for any kind of parley. And then you had what was he? Reverend W.P. Smith. He was a Methodist minister, and he went ahead and met with the people, and he dared to deliver the forbidden Protestant sermon against the laws of Mexico. And of course, he closed it with a Texas variation of "Give me liberty or give me death." Now, I bet that's not in your Texas history book that you read about in school. Anyways, so the Texans knew that an armed episode was going to happen. They were already united in spirit. Everybody in town attending to the sermon, they knew that things were getting serious. They had already lost their political voice, and this is what set the stage. And come tomorrow morning, October 1st, things are, of course, it was kind of foggy that day, but the Texans made sure that all the ferries and all the boats that could be used across the river were not available to the Mexican forces. And that gives you some background to help you understand what led up to the Come and Take It events. I'll try to go ahead and cover those tomorrow. Let's see the comments. Someone needs to remind Irish O'Rourke this part of Texas history. There's a lot of politicians out there that need to be aware of Texas history, because if you don't understand where you came from, you're not going to understand the direction people are going. If you don't understand the thoughts and values of the people, how are you going to address their needs? So it's important to understand that. Amy Keller, thanks for the comment. And until tomorrow and next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you Vaya con Dios. Goodbye.